like to purchase a pre-printed fabric panel, please go to spoonflower.com and type Kathy Schmitz in the search bar without any spaces. You can also hold your phone's camera over the QR code and a small yellow tab will pop up. Click on the tab and it will take you to my Spoonflower shop. Please order a fat quarter on Petal Signature Cotton. Thanks! We are back. It's February already, and I did get a little head start on this one. So I did the stem stitch around the circle since we'd gone over the stem stitch on the other one, but I'll still touch base on that a little bit with this one. This one has more of those itty bitty running stitches, if you can call them that. They're so tiny. So I'm going to do like I did before, where I'll take the first stitch, but instead of coming up at the beginning of the next one, I'm going to come up at the end of the next one. And then go down at the beginning of it and up at the end of the following one. So it's a little bit of a back stitch, running stitch. You can do it as a running stitch. Actually, you could do every other one. So you don't have to go all the way to the end. Just realized that. So I'll go to the very end and then back to the beginning of that one stitch. And now I can go to the beginning of the next stitch. So they're going to be super tiny, little itty bitty. And I would recommend doing those before you do the outline because they're so close together. What I found is if you do those first, then when you do the stem stitch, you can kind of take it on the outside of that line. So there'll be that little space there. So I'll go ahead and finish up these running stitches and then I'll show you what I mean on the stem stitch. So by the end of this, I did start doing it more as a running stitch. I had to take my glasses off and so I could see a little bit better. But so it is doable to do it either way. Just wanted to point that out. Just very, very tiny little stitches. And you can see the difference. So this side I did more of a back stitch running stitch, and this side I did as just a regular running stitch. So the next thing we're going to do is the stem stitch around the heart, the outside of the heart. And when you're doing a stem stitch, the other thing you want to do is start at a point or an end of a line. You don't want to start like right in the middle. If it's a circle, you kind of have to start in the middle. And then I would recommend starting or stopping where there's something else going on to kind of hide where those stitches overlap in case they don't overlap very well. Okay, so I'm going to start at that point at the very top, and I'm going to take about a 1/16 and come back up in that first hole. And then a 1/16 and come back up in the same hole as the last stitch went down. So there, in some diagrams, they have you going to the side of that stitch. I like to come up right in that same hole. That's the way my mother taught me. And I'm also carrying the thread on the outside of that curve because I want the stitches to kind of lean out rather than lean in and cover up my my running stitches. I'm also kind of pushing them that way with each stitch with my thumb because you can kind of manipulate your stitches to make them go where you really want them to go. And they don't mind. They're very forgiving. Okay, so when I get to this point at the bottom, I'm going to turn the corner just like I did on the snowman sleeve, where I'm going to put my needle down in the very corner, flip the fabric over, thread my needle through the previous stitch, and then come back up in that same hole because that stitch will be anchored. So go down in the same hole, turn it over, thread the needle under the previous stitch. Now it's anchored. I'm going to come up in that very same hole at the very base of the heart. And now I can continue stitching. So I'll finish that up and then I'll show you how to do the leaves And we'll go over the French knots again and the tricky way to do these little hearts. So as I did in January, I'm going to continue to try to eliminate my knots by starting each stitching journey here by threading my thread under previous stitches. And oh dearie, sorry. And you only need a few stitches to really hold it in place. So now let's see where I kind of stick my needle just so I can see where I'm at. So since I'm close to this French knot, we're going to do the French knot. So you pull it up where the dot is. You wrap it 2 times around the needle. You put the needle down close to where you brought it up, but not in the same hole, and then slip those wraps down to the fabric. Not too tight, but you want them nice and snug. And then I hold it with my finger and my thumb and pull it through. And I have a nice little French knot. The other stitch is called a colonial knot, which is a little bit trickier, but once you get the hang of it, it's fun to do. So what I do is I place my needle parallel to the thread. I'm left-handed, sorry, so you're gonna have to do it backwards. And then I cross over and under and then over and under. So right now I have a little figure 8 on my needle. We do that again. So parallel, I'm going to go over and under, and then over and under. Form a figure 8. And then I'll do the same thing. We'll bring those wraps down to the fabric. Make it nice and little tight, not too tight, but tight enough so I can pull the needle through here. And that is a colonial knot. So you can choose. Okay, the next stitch we're going to do is we're going to make these little hearts, which is actually super easy, and I kind of like it. I think it's really fun because it's 2 stitches. We're going to make 2 fly stitches. So you'll come up at the top little V, go down at the very base of the heart, up at the top part of the curve, carry the thread under the needle, and there's 1/2. We just tack that down right on the other side. And then we're just going to repeat on for the other half of the heart. Like that. Now we have a cute little heart. How easy is that? So I'm just going to come up right at the base. I'll stem stitch to the main wreath. And then I'm going to pop up to the top of this leaf so I can show you how to do these leaves. So I call it a fan stitch. I think it's called a ray stitch. Basically, you're just making all your stitches converge at the base. But one little tip that I kind of found, because you're going to have a lot of stitches coming down at the base, depending on how big your leaf is, I kind of make the first one just a tiny bit shy. And then you're going to come up right on the edge of that leaf. And use your thumb to really manipulate it so that it's going right down the center of the leaf. Now we're going to take the needle down right at the base and bring the needle up on the other side of that first stitch, right on the edge of the leaf. And again, I'm going to take my thumb to keep that thread on this side of that first stitch. And then take it down in the center hole again, cross over, and each time I'm coming down a little bit, following the edge of that leaf. Use my thumb to make sure it goes in place. We'll just do one more on that side. And then I think that's done. But that's a quick way to fill it in. It's a little bit easier than doing a satin stitch. I know satin stitches aren't everybody's favorite, but So it makes a cute little leaf there. And those are the stitches for February. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. And February is complete. There she is. So this month we did the stem stitch, the little tiny running stitches, these fly stitch hearts, French knots, and the little fan stitch leaves. So I hope you had fun stitching this up. And the nice thing about these projects is they're small enough so you can actually get them accomplished each month, hopefully. And if not, you can get caught up quickly. But then again, you know what? Take your time. There's no hurry. This is all about having fun, stitching at your own pace. So I hope you're having a good time on this journey so far. And next month is March. We'll be stitching up our little bee. I will see you then. Bye.